Hello everybody, welcome to another Flaming Dice Reviews video. My name is Matt, and today we're going to be taking a look at a small box deck building game by AEG called Valley of the Kings. Now this is an Egyptian themed deck building game where players are trying to prepare for the afterlife by stocking their tomb with servants and food and statues and their own organs. Sounds a little grisly, but if you're into the Egyptian theme, that's pretty common fare. A lot of deck building games in the past have been large box games, if you think Ascension or Dominion, but recently, in the last year, we've seen deck building games getting smaller and smaller, i.e. Star Realms and Valley of the Kings. Let's take a look at Valley of the Kings, and we'll see how it plays, and then I'll meet you back here for my final thoughts. Now let's talk about what comes inside of Valley of the Kings before we look at how it's played. Now of course you have your box and your instruction manual, and then each of the 4 players, since it supports up to 4, gets a tomb in which to put their belongings. They have player reference cards, and then the cards themselves are divided into 3 different types. We have the starter cards, which are made up of offering tables, shop teas, which are statues, boxes of food, and urns. And then the regular non-starting cards are made up of second age cards and third age cards. And together, those are comprised of unique cards, or unique items, which along with the starter items are just worth straight victory points at the end, based on their total at the bottom of their cards. And then we have sets, since this game is a set building game. And those sets are books, amulets, canopic jars, sarcophagi, and statues. And we'll take a look at how those are scored at the end when we get to gameplay here in just a moment. Now to set up Valley of the Kings, a player is given a tomb, a reference card, and then 10 starter cards. Each player receives the same 10 starting cards, and then the rest of the starter cards are placed back in the box and will not be used. The level 3 and level 2 cards are shuffled separately, and then the level 3 cards are placed on the bottom of the deck, and the level 2 cards are placed on the top, so that during gameplay the level 2s are drawn first. Now, a player also creates a boneyard of 1 card at the beginning. That's like a master discard pile, like an exile from Magic the Gathering. These are cards that are removed from the game. And then players form a pyramid with the next 6 cards. And then the game is ready to play. Now the pyramid is a central part of Valley of the Kings, and whenever players are taking their turn, they purchase new cards and build their deck by taking cards from the bottom of the pyramid. Unless a card says otherwise, you can't take cards from the top of the pyramid. And if a player purchases a card from the bottom, the pyramid then crumbles. So if a player purchases the bottom right card, the pyramid tumbles down, or crumbles is the correct term for the game, and then a new card is placed on top. If a card is purchased from the center, then the player gets to choose which card crumbles, and then the same action is taken, and the pyramid is rebuilt. And if during a turn a player doesn't purchase anything from the pyramid, they get to choose 1 card from the pyramid and sacrifice it, and that card goes to the boneyard. Now during a player's turn, the player draws 5 cards from the top of their deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can then use those 5 cards to purchase new cards from the center or from the bottom of the pyramid. And each card at the top left has a gold value. Each card also has an ability at the bottom. For example, the urn allows you to put the top card of your discard pile on top of your deck. The Shabti allows you to swap 2 cards in the pyramid or sacrifice a card in the pyramid. And that can be used to block your opponent. But at the beginning of the game, players are most likely going to use the cards for their gold value. And each one of the starter cards have a gold value of 1. So in this example, I'm going to use 4 of my cards to purchase this Book of Traversing Eternity. I'll put it in my discard pile, and then I have 1 card left over with a value of 1, but I can't afford anything. So let's go ahead and crumble the pyramid, rebuild it, and again I only have 1 gold left, so I could use this card for its action if it had an action that I wanted to use, or I can just waste it. And in this case I'm just going to waste it and put these cards in my discard pile. My opponent goes, purchases whatever he or she wants, and then I draw the next 5 cards. And again, each player starts with 10, so you'll have enough cards for the first 2 turns. Same thing, I'm going to use 4 of these for their gold value. Actually, I'm going to use the Shabti to swap 2 cards in the pyramid, and I put a cost, let's say I put the cost 4 card down at the bottom so that I'm eligible to purchase it. So I used that card for its ability. I used the remaining 4 cards for their gold value, and I purchase the Wearer's Amulet. It goes into my discard pile. At the end of my turn, the cards that I used to play also go in my discard pile, and I redraw my hand of 5 cards after crumbling the pyramid. Now, my draw pile is empty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my entire discard pile, including the cards that I've purchased over my last 2 turns, and then I'm going to redraw my hand of 5. So there we go, I've got my card shuffled. I'll draw the next 5 cards, and this will be my hand for the next turn. And lo and behold, I got both of the new cards I purchased, which have a gold value of 2, so they give me a more buying power, and they also have really good abilities. And play continues this way until the deck is empty, until there are no cards in the pyramid, and each player has taken the same amount of turns. So the game has taken great lengths to make the game pretty balanced. Next, let's look at how points are scored. So each turn, unless a card allows a player to do it additional times, a player is allowed to entomb 1 card. And that's how you get victory points at the end of the game. Player with the most points at the end wins the game. Now there's some special rules to scoring. There are purple unique cards which add a straight value to the end points at to the points at the end of the game, and they are purple in color. So if you entomb a purple card, they're worth the number of victory points printed at the bottom. In this case, the Chariot is worth 3 victory points. I don't know if that's in focus. But on my turn, if I entomb a Chariot, at the end of the game, it'll be worth 3 victory points. If I entomb one of my starter cards during the game, then at the end it'll be worth 1 victory point. So it's like the unique card, only worth less points. Now the sets that we mentioned earlier, they're a completely different story. So it adds a strategic element to the game, because each unique card that you purchase in a set lends or multiplies the victory points that you get. So if I have 1 book, which are the green cards, entombed at the end of the game, then I get 1 point. if I have two green cards entombed, and that's unique green cards, books, entombed at the end of the game, then I get 4 points, because it's the number of cards in the set, or that you've collected, squared. So in this case, I've collected 2 cards from the book set, so 2 times 2 is 4 points. If I entomb a third card, then 3 times 3 is 9. It's worth 9 points. And some sets have 4 cards in the set, some have 5, one has 4, one has 5, one has 6, and one has 7, and then the sarcophagi has 3. So there's sets that are larger and harder to get, and then there's sets that's easier to complete. But there's no bonus to getting all of them, or to getting a complete set. It's just the number of unique cards in the set that you've collected squared. And again, player with the most victory points at the end of the game wins. Welcome back, everybody. Now that we've seen a little bit about how Valley of the Kings plays and what comes inside of the box, let's talk about my final thoughts. As always, I appreciate the fact that this deck building game is portable and easy to set up. As somebody who works very long hours during my normal job, I appreciate small and easy to set up games. They're just easier for me to play most of the time, unless it's my day off. I like that it's a deck building game that fits into a small box instead of a big box. Again, it's just that portability that I really like. The gameplay in Valley of the Kings is fun. It's a great little deck building game. The theme is a little bit pasted on, I think, because really it could be, with the exception of the pyramid mechanic, it really could be anything. You're a trader trying to get as many different types of goods, or you're a Pokemon trainer trying to train as many different types of Pokemon, or whatever. But that's really not that big a deal to me. The artwork is pretty decent. It's nothing to write home about, but it is nice and it is thematic. Now the pyramid itself, I really enjoy. I thought that added a good amount of strategy to the game, because there are cards that let you rearrange the pyramid, and if you don't purchase from the pyramid, you have to sacrifice one of the cards. And you, of course, can target a card that you know, or from a set that you know your opponent is trying to build. Another thing, a big bonus for Valley of the Kings is that it is a deck building game, and it supports more than 2 players. Now, most of the deck building games support 2. This one supports up to 4 with this one box. I know Star Realms, it said if you want to have 4 players, you just buy another starter deck or another base game. Well, with Valley of the Kings, you don't even have to do that. It supports 4 players out of the box, which I really appreciate. I read Valley of the Kings through the Flaming Dice Review scoring system, which scores a game based on 8 categories, including fun, replayability, portability, accessibility, artwork, and Valley of the Kings got an 85 out of 100. A great score for a great little game, portable, just super accessible deck building game. If you like deck building games, I would definitely recommend giving this one a try. And if you like this video, please be sure to like it, subscribe to the channel. We do full game reviews as well as accessory reviews, and then we do articles and videos on the website as well. And you can visit that at www.flamingdicereviews.com, and I hope to see you there, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.